Okay, today we're diving into something that sounds like it's been ripped straight out of a sci-fi movie, but I promise you it's happening in labs right now. We're talking about organoid intelligence. Just get a load of this. Scientists just built a working computer chip using living human brain cells. It learned to play Pong in 5 minutes. I mean, come on, that is not a movie tagline. That is a real, published scientific achievement.
And that is the core idea here. It's called Organoid Intelligence, or OI for short. And the wild experiment that proved it could actually work? Well, it has the perfect nickname, DishBrain.
So let's back up a little. Where did this idea even come from? Believe it or not, this concept of biocomputing, using living tissue to actually compute things, it isn't totally new. But what is new is that for the first time, our technology has finally caught up with our imagination. And this timeline just lays it all out so perfectly. The theories started way back in the mid-20th century, with folks in cybernetics just dreaming about this stuff. Then, boom, a massive leap with stem cell tech in the 2000s. And by 2013, we had the first self-organizing brain organoids, these mini brains in a dish. All of that, it leads directly to today, where DishBrain is learning to play Pong, showing us what active, goal-directed learning really looks like. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How in the world do you teach 800,000 neurons in a petri dish to become a gamer? First off, what is a brain organoid? Well, to put it simply, it's this tiny, three-dimensional ball of brain tissue that we grow from stem cells. And the amazing part is, it self-organizes. It starts forming these complex circuits that actually mimic a developing human brain. Yeah, basically a mini brain. And the scale here is it's what makes this so wild. We're not talking about just a few cells. DishBrain is a whole network of 800,000 living human neurons. They're grown on something called a microelectrode array, which is the key piece of the puzzle. It's the bridge that lets them talk to the digital world. Okay, now this is the really fascinating part. How does it actually learn? The whole thing is guided by a concept called the free energy principle. Now that sounds super complex, but it's really just a fancy way of saying that brains hate chaos. They're constantly trying to make their world more predictable. So here's how DishBrain used that idea to play Pong. First, the input. Electrical signals telling it where the ball is, simple enough. Second, processing. The neurons fire off, creating a response. Third, the output. All that brain activity is read and translated to move the paddle. But here's the kicker. Step 4, feedback. If the paddle hits the ball, the organoid gets a nice, neat, predictable signal. But if it misses, it gets a blast of chaotic, unpredictable noise. So the organoid literally learns to play better just to make its environment less chaotic and more predictable. And get this, it figured that out in 5 minutes. So, okay, teaching brain cells to play Pong is, well, it's amazing, but why does it really matter? This isn't just a cool party trick for neurons, right? This could be the very beginning of a biocomputing revolution. Just look at this comparison. It tells you everything you need to know about the sheer potential here. Your brain, it runs on about 20 watts of power. That's a dim light bulb. A supercomputer trying to do similarly complex tasks, we're talking megawatts of electricity. The efficiency and the incredible density of a 3D biological network, it just blows our flat silicon chips completely out of the water. And with that kind of efficiency, a whole new world of possibilities opens up. I mean, we're talking about AI systems with ridiculously low power needs, systems that can learn and adapt on their own, intrinsically. And, this is huge, unbelievable new ways to model devastating neurological diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. This could inspire entirely new kinds of AI, pushing us way beyond the physical limits of Moore's law. But, of course, with this kind of incredible promise comes an equally profound and, frankly, what some scientists are calling a terrifyingly real set of challenges. This really is the double-edged sword of organoid intelligence. And this question gets to the absolute heart of it all. It's the question that's probably keeping scientists and ethicists up at night. If it can learn, can it feel? Can it suffer? And that presents us with this fundamental conflict. On one hand, are we just looking at a biological tool, a new kind of processor that's just subject to engineering principles? Or are we creating a being with a potential for consciousness? One that might have rights, one that we have deep ethical responsibilities towards. I mean, where do you even begin to draw that line? And the hurdles we have to get over are just immense. Ethically, how do you even define consciousness in a dish? From a control perspective, what about the potential for misuse in autonomous systems? Practically, there are huge issues with just scaling this up, making it consistent. And then there's the societal side of things, navigating the totally understandable public fear of Frankenstein science. These are not small problems. So, with all this incredible potential and all these very real perils, where do we possibly go from here? Well, the answer seems to be pointing towards a hybrid future. The vision that's starting to emerge isn't about biology completely replacing silicon. No, the future looks like it's a hybrid. It's about creating a kind of symbiotic relationship where we get to leverage the absolute best of both worlds. So this is the roadmap. The plan is to develop these hybrid systems that can combine the super efficient learning of biology with the raw number-crunching power of digital computers. And absolutely crucial to this, we have to establish strong ethical guidelines before the tech gets way ahead of our wisdom. And of course, the scientific work continues, making the organoids more complex and improving the interfaces that connect them to our world. Which leaves us with this one last, really profound thought. This technology was never just about building a faster computer. It forces us, all of us, to confront one of the biggest questions there is. As we set out to build a new form of intelligence, we're also going to have to decide how we will define life itself.